Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cleveland Sports Bros podcast. I'm Matt alongside my brother Nick. Nick, how are you doing today?
Awesome. Love talking Cleveland sports.
Yep, we're going to talk some Cavs. They've been playing great ball lately. We're going to talk some Browns coming off another, well, depending on how you look at it, solid win, but they got the win. And we'll talk a little Buckeyes in the college football playoffs. So, Nick, do you want to get us started with the Cavs?
Yeah, so last night was, one of the big games that caught every fan's attention because LeBron made his return to Cleveland. And earlier in the year, the Cavaliers went on the road to face the Lakers and they beat them 114-100. In that game, Mitchell scored 33 points, put up 2 assists and 5 rebounds. And, throughout the years in the past, while Cleveland fans may have, disliked or mistreated Broad on the floor, they now have utmost respect for him. And it was their new star, Donovan Mitchell, that went off again in the second game last night in Cleveland. Mitchell scored a season best 43 points, 5 assists, and 6 rebounds. He shot 17 from 27 of 27 and 50% from deep, also winning by 14, the final being 116-102.
Yeah, it was a great win. It seems that over the years, whenever the Cavs were playing a team that had LeBron after he left or whatever, in Miami or down in Los Angeles, that even in games that they were favored to win, they would just blow. And I don't know if that would be because of the LeBron factor in and of itself, but it was nice to see them get that win.
Yeah, and LeBron had a difficult fourth quarter. It seemed he was trying to get most of his teammates involved, which is fine, and I can understand that the way Anthony Davis has been playing lately. But LeBron only took 1 shot in the fourth quarter last night and put up 0 points, while Mitchell put up 17 of his combined 43.
Yeah, it was great to have Jared Allen back after missing, I think it was 5 games. So hopefully he can remain healthy at least, for a stretch here. So all around good team effort, and definitely excited about what this team can bring as we go through the NBA season. And I just want to point out that the Cavs have the 5th best record in the NBA total. And ESPN today has them ranked 5th overall in their power rankings as well. So it's definitely nice to see it. I mean, Mitchell is definitely gelling well with the team early on. And of course, they are going to have their ups and downs. But I think definitely playing good basketball. And one more thing to point out, that Boston, who has the best record in the league at 20-5 right now, 2 of those 5 losses are against the Cavs. So, they'll definitely be a tough team as we play them throughout the regular season. I don't think we play them for a while, but, again, not going to say the Cavs would walk over them in the playoffs. I think Boston probably is the better team despite the 2 losses to the Cavs. But I think it'll give the players and fans, some hope if they ever end up in a series against them. But just wanted to point those couple of things out as well.
Yeah, and one final point on the Cavaliers. Their next matchup will be this Friday night, a home game against the Sacramento Kings at 7:30. So looking forward to that one. And as you mentioned, the Cavs Celtics could be a matchup in the playoffs. That'd be great to see, but still early on, it depends on the record and health of both sides.
Yep.
Now, moving on to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. So good win. It was funny how it happened for anyone watching. no offensive touchdowns by the Browns, not something you would expect from someone who was touted and I still believe is a top tier quarterback. Of course, after missing or not playing in 700 days, then the idea that there wouldn't be any rust on Deshaun Watson, I think was ridiculous. But he will need to get better and need to get better soon. They play a division opponent, Cincinnati, coming up this Sunday, so he's going to have to get better. You can't expect the special teams and defense to come up with those sorts of turnovers and touchdowns the way that they did. But anyway, let's go back to kind of a game recap against Houston. Nick, what do you have?
Yeah, so Deshaun Watson, it was really a question mark for anyone either watching or playing with them, coaching for him, however you want to look at it. They really weren't sure what was going to happen. And Deshaun, he passed the ball 22 times, completed 12 passes. And in my opinion, he may not have had the greatest sling on the ball, but I did see bits and pieces where he escaped pocket and he did rush for a total of 21 yards. In the past, he's been known to do that and have games 50 plus yards. He's very explosive with his legs. He can make things happen. And what I mean by that is that, there's many things, but what his new teammates and wide receivers may need to get used to is he can make things happen, and they may need to adjust to he's still holding on to the ball, and they need to be aware that a ball might come out of nowhere when it may seem like the play is dead.
Yeah, I agree exactly, and so I'm still certainly optimistic that he can perform well on the field, and you got to give him time. But unfortunately, the Browns dug themselves a deep enough hole that there's not much room for error, if at all. Especially against a divisional opponent like the Bengals, and the Browns have had their way against the Bengals in recent years, kind of unexpectedly. Not exactly sure why, but but the Bengals are hitting their stride, it seems, as well. They just beat Kansas City on Sunday, and what's his name? Jamar Chase is back from injury as well. So they're definitely going to be a tougher team than when we face them on Halloween.
Yeah, I was just about to bring up the Halloween game. So the Browns are 1-0 against the Bengals this season. As a coach, Kevin is 5-0 overall. A lot of fans have been making jokes. Oh, we own them. We're just gonna walk away with a victory. It's not gonna be that easy. But I think we also need to keep in mind, I understand why some fans may be excited to have a quarterback like Deshaun, but he can't do it himself. And, Kareem Hunt had a strong game against the Texans, and if they can involve Hunt, Chubb, and Njoku's expected to return, Watson loves tight ends. We'll see what he can do. As you said, with the record and 5 games remaining, there's not a time for them to maybe recover if they can run the table. But looking forward to the remaining games, especially his first AFC North matchup against Bengals.
Yep, agreed. So hoping for another win this Sunday. We'll talk a little bit Buckeyes as well. So they were spectators for the Big Ten championship game, watched Michigan beat Purdue pretty badly. But with USC losing to Utah in their championship game, Ohio State made it into the college football playoffs. So that was, nice to see. So they will face the number 1 ranked team, Georgia, in the first round of the playoffs. And I know a lot of fans were hoping for a rematch against against Michigan. The good news is that Michigan is favored to beat TCU, and if Ohio State wins, which you can't look past Georgia, the best team in the country, they should get that rematch opportunity, which would be amazing for the national championship. So, I do think Georgia is the best team in the country. Ohio State is definitely going to have their work cut out for them. It will be very challenging. They're not going to be able to dink and dunk the ball like they attempted to do in the loss against Michigan. They're really going to have to create downfield threats and opportunities. Run the ball well and play defense. I know that sounds obvious, but Georgia will probably be their toughest matchup of the season. Michigan maybe, being a very close second. I think Georgia is probably slightly better than Michigan, but that doesn't mean Ohio State isn't capable of winning. They can do it with, I think, some, improved play and better decision making from a play calling and coaching standpoint, but should be exciting to watch them play.
Yeah, and that game is on New Year's Eve. I believe it's 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be an exciting game. The number 4 OSU seed against number 1 Georgia. The one thing I've had on my mind, even though this doesn't really play into the outcome, we all know Chubb played for Georgia. It's just kind of been something I've been thinking about and wondering if he cares, if OSU were able to upset Georgia. So yeah, about 3.5 weeks away. Really looking forward to OSU's game, and we'll see what they can do.
Yep, for sure. So they're going to have to get players healthy. I'm sure Georgia does as well, but definitely looking forward to the matchup. Anything else you have to add?
No.
All right. Well, you have been listening to another episode of the Cleveland Sports Bros podcast. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day.